Hi, I'm Davy, and I'm awesome! And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review the styles of movies that I love, the alternative, B-rated, cult-style flicks. And this week, it's time for the 5th installment of one of the best series of movies ever seen. And this installment took 11 years to get a new one. This was made in 2015, despite the fact that number 4 was made in 2004. It's also one of the first times in a series that they had done a prequel, which was number 4, and then did a sequel later. This movie was directed by Don Mitchell-Paul and produced by Ogden Gabansky, I think, and written by William Truesmith, M.A. Deuce, John Walpley, and C.J. Strabar. And it was made by Universal 1440 Entertainment and distributed by Universal Studios Home Entertainment. The home entertainment means it was a straight-to-video release. But, ladies and gentlemen, 5th installment, Tremors 5, Bloodlines. The movie opens with the opening of a television show that I would totally watch. Yeah! Bert's back, baby! And he's played by Michael Gross. And he starts listing all the names that he's been called.
Gun enthusiast, monster hunter, doomsday prepper.
Awesome!
I've scoured the dirt and dust of Nevada and Mexico putting...
Okay, I'm sorry, Mark Gross, but you just gave away the fact that you do not, in fact, live in Nevada. Because nobody in Nevada likes it when somebody calls it Nevada. It's Nevada, not Nevada. Nevada.
Moving through the desert of Perfection, Nevada.
Nevada! After this, Bert tells his viewers about graboids, shriekers, and ass blasters in order to basically let them know how qualified he is as a survivalist, and how he's qualified to teach them to be survivalists too.
Who's hungry?
Bert! Then we see where this movie is going to take place. Interesting name for a city. By the way, this is actually where it was filmed, in South Africa. So all that landscape of Nevada, if you're hoping to see that, you'll see something similar. It's a bunch of desert, but this is South Africa. We see a couple of guys on a safari, and one of them falls into a hole.
Didn't you see this gigantic hole?
I'm guessing no, or else I would hope that he would have avoided falling into it. The guy who's not in the hole, Dreyer, he goes to get a rope to help pull him out. And while he's pulling him out, the guy in the hole hears something.
Get me out of here! I'm fixing myself!
Oh, just wait. Hey, don't waste food. Good boy. Then we go back to Nevada, and we meet Travis. Okay, this is like the second time we've seen somebody peeing in like the first 10 minutes of the movie. So I'm guessing that either these actors just didn't think to use the bathroom before they started filming, or the director is oddly obsessed with pee.
Hello, Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least Jamie Kennedy can say it right. Once. Just forewarning you, if you are somebody from Nevada watching this movie, it's going to annoy you because that's the only time somebody says Nevada right, including him. Travis interrupts Bert's filming while he's showing everybody how to cook a snake.
Smells like chicken.
Tastes like it too. Travis is Bert's new cameraman.
So I take it he didn't give you my resume?
Hopefully you left out Son of the Mask. Travis tells Bert he can make him bigger and fix him.
I don't need fixing.
Because he's Bert! As Travis and Bert are talking, a Humvee pulls up out of nowhere. Turns out this Humvee was looking for Bert, and out comes someone claiming to be from the South African Wildlife Ministry.
We have a confirmed sighting of what you would refer to as an arse blaster.
And in typical Bert fashion, he answers accordingly.
When do we leave?
Bert! But Travis tries to intervene.
Mr. Gummer really isn't in the monster business anymore.
What?
You don't speak for Bert! Travis is trying to negotiate for Bert, but Bert tells him he works alone, until Travis pulls out an HK-91 and tells him that Bert can have it if he takes Travis along.
Deal.
I want one too! So they leave for South Africa. When they get there, Bert tells them how they can kill these graboids and ass blasters.
Capturing, that's...
Why do they always want that? But Bert informs them.
You don't capture these things. You killed them.
Right? Then we see some archaeologists who found something big. It's a graboid. Then they show Bert the weapons they've provided him because his got held up in customs.
You want guns, Bert? This is how we roll.
I get that it's not the best choice of weapons going up against graboids, but hey, your great-grandfather Hiram had a lot less to work with. Like, his were way more primitive than yours. Back to the archaeologists. They're celebrating with a couple of glasses of wine and an outdoor camping shower. You know, the kind we all hate because you can't get a lot of hot water and, well, you're basically being watched by everybody around you.
I wish this moment would last the rest of my life.
Well, you are in luck. Because it did last the rest of your life. Bert and everybody go to this dig site to see what's going on, and they find the remains of not only the archaeologists, but they find the big dig of this graboid skeleton. But what Bert notices is that these graboids are way bigger than the graboids in North or South America. Which, if you're keeping track, means that this is the third continent that Bert has gone to fight graboids.
It's Africa. Everything's bigger.
Everything except my munitions.
And that's the size that really counts. That night, a couple of the crew members are getting the Jeep ready for the morning. Well, that's not good. You're gonna need something better than a machete if you want to kill an ass blaster, buddy. Then it goes to Travis, who's with a Dr. Nandi. And she tells him how they've discovered that the ass blasters come out more at night because the fact that they see with heat sensors help them not to be confused about their prey when there's cooler temperatures around. Basically, the human body is like the only thing that will light up.
Yes, they're like vampires.
Yeah, except for vampires, you know, suck blood and turn into bats, whereas these shoot fire out of their butts. Back to the guy with the machete. Yeah! That's a man right there! Bert hears this and comes out and shoots the ass blaster with his gun, but it's not a great gun, so it's only so effective against the ass blasters. It doesn't kill it, so it just takes off. And takes a snack with him. Seriously though, I gotta wonder, why do the coolest characters always die? Bert and Dreyer go to find Taba.
Hold on, I got you.
Holy crap, he's alive! Barely, but he's alive. Bert tells him no, stay down. He didn't listen. The ass blaster goes after Dreyer. Yeah!
You're like a freaking Rambo.
Rambo is nothing compared to Bert. Bert and Dreyer go back to the village to tell everybody that they need to evacuate because there are graboids in that area and it's very dangerous. And also to gather all of his crew up to go after these graboids and ass blasters. While he's doing this, Dr. Nandi has a surprise for Bert. A real gun.
Ooh, I like your style.
Bert, Dreyer, and Eric go after the ass blaster, and they can't capture it. The tranquilizer doesn't work, so Bert does what Bert does best.
Ass blast flambe.
Yeah, Bert! That's okay, he was a douche anyway. Bert, though, finds a graboid egg in the carcass of the ass blaster.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to take that little moneymaker from you.
Turns out Eric isn't who he said he was.
Duh!
Turns out that Eric is actually just a common poacher, and Dreyer and the guy that got stuck in the hole were just guys that worked for him, poaching animals. So now I'm really happy that Dreyer is dead, and Eric tells Bert to get in a cage.
Kill me. But you won't cage me.
Right on, Bert. You stand your ground like a man!
It ain't over till it's over.
Well, okay. Be a man and fight another day. Bert, in this cage, does what he has to do to survive.
The call of nature. The Maasai have been used.
Ew.
Well, he is a survivalist.
Definitely an acquired taste.
I'll take your word for it. A lion comes over But it's okay because he can't get to Bert. Bert's in a cage.
Saved at last.
You know, once you get into this movie, you're in. Travis pulls up because he was able to find Bert and is trying to get him out of the cage just as they get seismic activity from a graboid. He didn't have a key and he didn't have time, so he just did what he could. After they finally get somewhere safe, Travis gets Bert out. And explains that there was a camera in the cage, which was how he was able to track where Bert was in the first place. And they decide it's time to go after Eric Von Wick.
Fuel lines busted.
On foot. But it's okay, they eventually find Eric's Jeep.
Are you ready for a gunfight?
Bert's always ready. But when they actually get to the Jeep...
There goes his trade-in value.
Then we go back to Dr. Nandi's. Her daughter and boyfriend are being attacked by an ass blaster. Just as they're done for...
You okay?
They're fine. Even though he almost lost his. Back to Bert and Travis.
Dear God!
And Eric. He's still alive. And he's being chased by a graboid. But now they've also found that the graboid's tentacles can now go free range. Yeah! But so can the graboid. Holy frickin' yeah! Oh! Yes! Yes! He was a poacher. I'm glad he's dead. Bert and Travis have figured out that not only are these graboids more evolved than the ones they're used to in North America, but they also have a nest in a cave. And that the ass blasters are actually going out to protect the nest.
We gotta get in that cave.
I wouldn't. Bert wants to go in, but because of the fact that he's very heat-stricken and a little older, Travis convinces Bert to let him go into the cave.
He's got a pair, I'll give him that.
Whether he's got a pair or not, I'd still say he's nuts. While Travis is going into the cave, Bert calls the pilot that originally flew him in for help. While in the cave, Travis's first flare is starting to go out.
Come to Africa, we'll have some laughs, see some game.
Okay, Bruce, if you're done imitating other movies, can you light another flare? Travis finds the eggs and comes face to face with an ass blaster. And of all the times in this movie, they don't show somebody peeing. So Travis lets off a bomb and runs out of the cage. Yeah! Bert's pilot friend arrives just as a graboid is coming. So the pilot gets his big gun. It didn't help. Bert and Travis notice this. And that's more than enough to blow up that entire cave. So Bert and Travis make for the helicopter and... Yeah! Well, that's one problem taken care of.
What the hell? I thought you were a dead man.
Apparently he got the graboid to spit him out.
Yeah, tickle the insides of her belly a little bit.
So this guy is South African Bert? Back to Dr. Nandi's, they're trying to get to the rest of the village so they can warn them about these upcoming graboids, but just as one is now attacking them. So, they come up with the idea to pour gasoline all over a Jeep they're not using, rig it to run off, and... There's a lot of crap to yell about! Bert and Travis fix the fuel line and get some gas that was brought to them by the pilot so that they can get back to the village. And out of nowhere, Travis starts bringing up a woman that Bert hooked up with many years ago in Florida before he had met his ex-wife Heather. So, without beating around the bush, this means...
You mean you and me?
That's right. Bloodlines.
He said it. Bert is now freaking out.
I don't believe it. There's no way you're my offspring.
It's not really a good way to start a father-son relationship, Bert.
Let's just survive this African worm invasion, and we'll go back to never speaking to each other again. Cool?
Kids. Tentacles start coming out, so they get a move on.
I want a paternity test.
And the cat's in the cradle with the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. Dr. Nandi figures out why these graboids and ass blasters are after her daughter, and her boyfriend all of a sudden.
What's this?
I found it.
Just throwing this out there, but that might make a really good omelet. Everyone makes it to the village at the same time. By everyone, I mean Bert, Travis, and Dr. Nandi and her crew. But just as they get out, the little girl is surrounded by graboid tentacles.
Go, go, go!
So they come up with a quick plan. To bait the tentacles, Travis gets on a bike and gets the bag with the egg in it so that they'll get away from the little girl long enough for Rudy to save the little girl. And as soon as she's clear...
Behind you!
Well, that was close. Dr. Nandi gets the plan to make a big conductor in that little arena-like area for an upcoming lightning storm that's coming, and that can lure the graboid out. It's working! One problem down? Yeah! Everyone celebrates, and Bert and Travis have their moment, and Bert tells him that he can go ahead and fix him.
You don't need to fix him, Pops.
I wish Bert was my dad! Then, as the credits are rolling, we see Bert's revamped show. So there you have it, that's Tremors 5, Bloodlines. The 5th installment to a great series of movies, the Tremors movies. They are all awesome. This was a great movie, even though it was the first one that S.S. Wilson and Brett Maddock had nothing to do with whatsoever. Apparently after Tremors 4 in 2004, they did come up with a script for Tremors 5, but as this was getting ready to be made, due to their complete lack of creative control, they both dropped out and just let the studio do whatever they wanted. But I'm also happy with this movie because despite the fact that the original makers had nothing to do with it, and the director himself, Don Michael Paul, had never seen a Tremors movie. In fact, the first time he saw Tremors was when he sat down and watched it with Michael Gross. Bert. But in my opinion, even though it didn't have the original creators, it still held very true to the original Tremors movies. And like all the other Tremors movies, I highly recommend this one. I really highly recommend that you guys just check out all the Tremors movies. As far as ranking it in my favorites, I would still say the very first one is the best one. There was just a feel about it. And it had bacon. Then I would say like the next would be Tremors 2. But as far as Tremors 3, 4, and 5, I honestly wouldn't put any of them ahead of the other ones. They're all just as good, which are all good. And some people say like, well, they're not as good as the first one, so they suck. Shut up. Okay, just because you can't live up to that masterpiece doesn't mean it's not a good movie. They are all great movies, and I highly recommend that you check them all out. So that's my review this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications for when I post the videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of Tremors 5. Tell me which of the 7 Tremors movies is your favorite, and make sure to stay tuned because I will get to number 6 soon enough. Love you guys.